Sometimes, in order to travel back in time, it is enough to pick up a small object. For example, a painted doll, which seems to be not of Belarusian origin, but she is a Slavonian. Few people know. For a long time, Matryoshkas were produced at the Brest factory. From its conveyors, the doll fell on the shelves not only of the entire USSR, but also of England, France, and the USA, as smiling as Barbie, but rosy and full of life. However, the Matryoshka, along with the Czech crystal, was kept as a souvenir. They say all good things come to an end. So a doll with a bright pattern is no longer so in demand. So, should bears with Balalaika be cancelled too? Sophia is careful, but things are in themselves. In the distant 50s, the legendary Matryoshka doll was born behind these walls, and even though the painted wooden doll is not from Belarus at all, it has caught on with us. Handmade nesting dolls were painted both traditionally and according to Belarusian motives, so a unique souvenir became a conductor of folk traditions. This is one of our first nesting dolls. This is how we drew it. We sat in the 70s and 80s, well, probably earlier. The figures have ruddy faces of the girls, and they themselves are dressed in sundresses with simple patterns and ornaments, juicy colors and clear contours, such a bright portrait of Belarus glasses. They also drew chests, sat together, plates, which were made by snuffles. And then, the priests painted. As an artist, Olive Ostrakova came to the toy factory right after graduating from school in the 76. I have been painting Brest Matryoshkas for more than 2 decades. She created a mini-museum from her personal collection. Among the exhibits there are baskets of straw, and an inlaid casket, and Santa Claus. In short, everything that was rich in the souvenir assortment of Slavyenko in those years. The demand was unprecedented, exported to 17 countries. Before the collapse of the USSR, almost 2,000 people worked here. There was a good team. There were friendly women and girls. It's a pity that this is all so. So it's gone. The factory closed its doors 4 years ago. By that time, the number of masters had been reduced to hundreds. With the collapse of the Soviet Union, we lost foreign partners, leadership changes, and the search for solutions dragged on for years. With the installation of new equipment, there seemed to be hope. They expanded the range, began deliveries abroad, but the time of former glory is gone.
My mother has worked at the Brest factory for more than 20 years. When the factory closed, I decided to come out with such a project that we continue the history of the factory, continue its legacy.
And after all, they continued. A new small souvenir factory in Brest began with 3 lathes and stands, which are history in themselves. They were bought from the same Slavs. After that, former factory masters, keepers of folk traditions, also caught up. I knew there was a souvenir factory. We used to go, even when we were at school. I was studying. We just went on a tour to see, and I remember it all very well. Well, it's left here for life. With the opening of a new production, they seemed to have a new breath. Hands easily remembered favorite motives. Each district had its own national costume, and approximately a sample was drawn based on these costumes, and we invent our own samples. And you can see for yourself that the work is so painstaking that you will not hurry. And we love our profession very much. We probably don't want to change it.
I enjoy going to work. It even happens that it is necessary to order products urgently. I go out to work on weekends.
More than 300 designs of nesting dolls, painted hangers, key rings, magnets, tubes. Of course, the legendary Slavyenko of the young factory is still far away, but there is enough work. And here is the building of the former enterprise. Put up electronic auctions with an initial cost of over 663,000 rubles.
The bidding lasted 50 minutes. 38 bids were made. The winner was the participant number 2. This is a legal entity from the city of Brest. The object was first exhibited in December 2023 year for the full price minus 50%. In February of this year,
this time, at a discount of 80%, they offer to purchase 7,000 square meters, several production and administrative buildings for a land plot for rent for 50 years. But still the main and priceless story remained. The sounds of machines outside inside the walls of this most legendary factory died down 4 years ago. The building where the most popular Soviet Matryoshka doll was made all over the world can become one of the most expensive lots of the year. Sold 3 times the initial cost, the factory was valued at almost 2 million rubles. It is still unknown how the new owner will dispose of the premises. There will be production or warehouses here, but the Slavyanka's case still lives on through the efforts of other not indifferent people. Matryoshka dolls are produced by both state-owned and private enterprises, and Belarusian painting is recognized in Australia, New Zealand, Colombia, South Africa, and China. Perhaps the current expensive purchase will be the beginning of a new history of famous souvenirs.
Софія Бережна, Кирилл Липовик, ОНТ.